loneliness. We can call it modern loneliness.
We're spending more time online and less time making meaningful in-person connection.
Studies show that the number of close friends people have has dropped dramatically over the past few decades. In this video, we will talk about why, how, and what can we do about it. The common belief is that loneliness is just a personal problem, something we feel when we're alone and don't have enough friends. But that's not true. It's much more deeper than that.
But as recently as 100 years ago, only 2 out of 10 people lived in a city.
It's a public health crisis. Research shows that chronic loneliness can be as harmful as smoking 15 cigarettes a day, increasing the risk of heart disease, dementia, and even early death.
Every year, an estimated 30,000 reclusive people die alone in Japan. Neighbors alerted the authorities after noticing the smell 2 months after his death.
In today's fast-paced world, deep, meaningful conversations are becoming increasingly rare. In the United States, the percentage of people who reported having 10 or more close friends dropped from 33% in 1990 to just 13% in 2021. Even more concerning, the number of American men who say they have no close friends at all has increased fivefold, from 3% in 1990 to 15% in 2021. But this decline isn't just because of social media. Our entire way of life has shifted. We're busier than ever, constantly hustling, working, and juggling responsibilities. Life moves at such a rapid pace that we really slow down to have real uninterrupted conversations. Instead, most interactions are quick, surface level, exchange text message, voice notes, or social media comments that lack the depth needed to form real emotional bonds. Even in face-to-face interactions, conversations have become more transactional. The rise of individualism has led many people to focus on just career goals rather than deepening relationships. We are more likely to network for professional opportunities than to sit down for hours just talking about life. And because of this, we miss out on the kind of conversations that make us feel truly seen and understood. But it's not just our priorities that have changed, it's also our surroundings. The space we live in play a massive role in how we connect with others. And that brings us to our next point, urbanization.
More than half of all people in the world live in an urban area.
Urbanization is the movement of people from rural areas to urban areas.
But as recently as 100 years ago, only 2 out of 10 people lived in a city.
We want to know why something exists here and not there, and how it got there.
What better place to start than Tokyo? I mean, Tokyo is one of the most vibrant, bustling cities in the world. It's got neon lights, skyscrapers, and a population of over 37 million people in its metropolitan area. That's more people than some entire countries. But here's the thing, despite being surrounded by millions, Tokyo is also known for something else, its loneliness. In fact, Japan has such a major issue with social isolation that they even have a word for it, hikikomori.
It means to retreat or hide inside yourself.
So these people effectively are living in their own world.
People who completely withdraw from society, often staying isolated for months or even years. And it's not just a Japan thing. This is happening everywhere. While it's an extreme example, it highlights a bigger issue. In a city as crowded as Tokyo, it's surprisingly easy to feel alone. Urbanization brings people together physically, but not always emotionally. In cities like Tokyo, life moves fast. People are packed into trains, sidewalks, and cafes. But everyone is in their own world, headphones on, eyes on their phones, or just lost in thoughts. It's like being in a crowd of strangers, even when you are surrounded by people. And it's not just Tokyo. Cities everywhere are designed for efficiency, not connection. High-rise apartments mean you might not even know your neighbors. Long commutes leave little time for socializing, and the constant noise and chaos, it can make it hard to slow down and really connect with others. But here's the irony. Urbanization was supposed to bring people closer. Cities were meant to be hubs for community, culture, and collaboration. And in many ways they are. But somewhere along the way, we traded connection for convenience. We built taller buildings and faster trains, but we didn't build spaces for the kind of human connection that actually makes life meaningful. And it's not just about physical space, it's about how we live in them. In cities, life can feel transactional. You go to work, rush through your day, maybe grab a coffee, but how often do you stop to really talk to someone? How often do you feel like you're part of community, not just a crowd? And sure, urban life has its peak opportunities, diversity, independence. But it also makes it easier to be surrounded by thousands of people and still feel invisible. And that kind of isolation is not just emotional, it actually affects our health. Which brings us to the next point, how loneliness kills.
Every year, an estimated 30,000 reclusive people die alone in Japan. Neighbours alerted the authorities after noticing the smell 2 months after his death.
Large-scale studies show that the stress that comes from chronic loneliness is among the most unhealthy things we can experience as humans. It's not just a feeling, it's a serious health risk. In fact, research suggests that loneliness can be just as harmful as smoking 15 cigarettes a day. That's how serious it is. Loneliness can literally make you age quicker. Research has found that chronic loneliness can accelerate cellular aging, making your body feel older than it actually is. And it doesn't stop there. Loneliness has been linked to a 50% increased risk of dementia, a 29% increased risk of heart disease, and a 32% increased risk of stroke. It's like your body is under constant attack, and the longer you feel lonely, the worse it gets. It's not just about physical health. Loneliness messes with your mind too. It's been shown to increase level of cortisol, the stress hormone, which can lead to anxiety, depression, and even a weakened immune system. And here's the scariest part. Loneliness doesn't just make you sick, it can make deadly diseases even deadlier. Studies have found that socially isolated cancer patients have a higher mortality rate compared to those with strong social connections. And it's not just about living longer, it's about living better. Loneliness doesn't just shorten your lifespan, it steals the quality of your life. It makes it harder to sleep, harder to focus, and harder to find joy in things you used to love. But here's the thing, loneliness isn't a life sentence. It's not something we have to accept. There are things we can do to break the cycle, to reconnect, and to build meaningful relationships again. So, how do we fix it? Let's talk about that next. What can we do about it?
We know each other and don't judge each other.
But there is something that seems to be helping.
She's no longer afraid of going out and meeting other people.
Literally, everybody feels lonely at some point in their life. It's a universal human experience. If you are feeling lonely, the first step is to acknowledge it. It's okay to admit that you are struggling. Loneliness isn't a sign of weakness, it's a sign that you are human. We don't have to fix everything overnight. Just reaching out to a friend we haven't spoken to in a while or starting a conversation with someone new can make a huge difference. Even if it feels awkward at first, people appreciate it more than we think. It's true, people appreciate it, but it didn't go with me. I can't start a conversation, but I personally do other things. Speaking of connection, put down your phone every once in a while. I know. It sounds like a simple thing, but sometimes we get so caught up in scrolling that we forget how to connect in real life. Another big step is to join communities, whether it's a hobby group, a class, or even just a local meetup. Surrounding yourself with people who share your interests can help combat that feeling of loneliness. Sometimes all we need is a group of people who get us. Finding your tribes can work wonder for loneliness. Plus, the more you connect, the easier it becomes to keep those relationships alive. And don't forget about quality over quantity. We don't need hundreds of friends to feel connected. Research show that having even 1 or 2 close friends can make a huge difference.
They began speaking every day, and she convinced him to start some part-time work as a rental brother.
Lastly, one of the most important things you can do is take care of yourself. Loneliness can often be a symptom of not taking care of your emotional and mental well-being. When we are mentally healthy, we are in a better place to connect with others. Doing things that bring us peace, like meditation, going for a walk can help us feel more grounded and connected to the world around us. It personally helps me a lot. I regularly exercise when I feel lonely. It makes my mind fresh and physically more energized. At the end of the day, it's all about finding balance. It's about investing in relationships that matter and taking care of your own well-being.
What made you fall in love with each other?
So, where does this leave us? We live in a time where loneliness is more common than ever, but that doesn't mean we have to accept it. It's easy to feel like we're alone in our struggles, like no one else understands what we are going through. But the truth is, loneliness is a universal experience. It's something we all go through at some point in life. And if we all experience it, that also means we all have the ability to help each other through it. Small changes can make a huge difference. reaching out to an old friends, joining in a group, putting down our phones for real conversations. These things may seem small, but they have the power to reconnect us in ways we might not even realize. And most importantly, we need to take care of ourselves. Loneliness doesn't just come from a lack of people, it often comes from a lack of connection to ourselves. When we prioritize our well-being, when we do things that bring us peace, when we give ourselves to space to grow, that's when we become more open to meaningful relationships. Because at the end of the day, we are not meant to go through life alone. Real happiness doesn't come from how many people are around us. It comes from the quality of the connections we have. And the good news, we have the ability to create those connections. So if you're feeling lonely, remember this: you're not alone. And maybe, just maybe, someone out there is feeling the same way, waiting for someone like you to reach out.